Buns plus chicken plus pickles
equals love.
Welcome to Gay Talk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
Happy Monday and welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of Gay Talk 2.0, an LGBT podcast, streaming live on Digital Stream Radio, where you can listen live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can do so by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. On today's show, we're going to welcome Jack Tracy. He's the creator of the new serial drama Community, now available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. In Community, the LGBTQIA characters must cope with the tragedy of a mass shooting at a gay nightclub. We'll have more about the series and, of course, Jack, our guest, on the second half of the show. My name is Tom, and I am your host, and as always, I'm here with my amazing co-hosts, starting with the first one.
Hey y'all, Nick or Trish.
And
Good to be with you guys. It's Chris.
and welcome you all to
The Dish.
So we've got a full show. So much going on. It's insane, but I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to our guest today about this podcast that released. It's very intense, and it's going to be a really, really interesting conversation. So I'm super excited about that. Other than that, I think we should jump into our weekends, talk a little bit about that, and then we can move on to our stories and, of course, our guests. So I'm going to kick it off to the boys. Who would like to start?
Take your finger out of your mouth and tell me about your weekend, bitch.
Go ahead, Nick.
What did I do? I worked on Friday.
I was there.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
At the bar?
Yeah.
How was it? Was it busy?
Yeah, but it was like a different crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good money.
And I started talking to a cutie, and Nick was like, no, you can't be friends. No exchanging numbers.
She's nasty.
Pretty
She's
much, yeah.
cock blocking? Is that what she was doing?
Immediately.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have like 5 in like your phone that you text constantly. You want to add a 6th?
Excuse me?
All right, sorry. You have 10.
No.
15.
This isn't about me. We're talking about you.
Yeah.
Remember?
You brought it back to you. So, anyway, and
So-
then I went out with Timmy on
It was good to see him.
for
Haven't seen
dinner,
him in
and
forever.
Mm-hmm.
we went out for a couple drinks, and then I was like, I'm so old, and I'm gonna go home, and I ditched him. I left him at the bar.
Well, he stuck around. He had a good time. It was
Yeah.
good to see him, though.
No,
he's
I know.
He's a sweetheart.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't seen him like over a year, and I thought he had moved away. And then all of a sudden, he shows up with Trish, and I was like, "Oh, hi, Timmy."
Yeah, I haven't seen him in so long.
He's so adorable.
So-
Such a cutie.
A couple people saw us out, and like several people were like, "He's so cute." I'm like, "How'd it go?" And I'm like, "What? That's Tim. It's Timmy. Like, what? He's my friend. No. You can't go anywhere.
And he's always like elbow deep in like surgical equipment during the day, you know, and all that stuff. So does he still do that?
Yeah.
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 Pretty interesting.
He's awesome, though. He's cute. He's adorable.
That doesn't
And-
bother me though.
No. Of course not. No one that ever goes, surgical deep in your hole bothers you.
Facts.
Lord have mercy.
Thank you, Dr. G.
You're
Mhm.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Chris, how was your weekend?
Well, first, since we're talking medical stuff, I do want to say to our listeners, Mama, she's been on the show before. You know her. She's my love, my muse, my spirit animal. She took her final exam today for nursing
I
school.
thought you were going to say she took a tumble.
No,
I was
well,
like,
she probably did.
surprise.
But she's actually going to be getting pinned on Thursday. So
Oh,
this
Lord.
Thursday, I'll be there to see her officially become a nurse.
I hope she doesn't drop the pin and then.
Good luck, everybody
She's
else.
going to be the one who gets like stabbed with the actual pin.
She's gonna fall all
That's
the time.
awesome.
She's going to be like tripping over catheters, unplugging life support. Like there's so many things are going to go wrong. No, she's going to be a fantastic nurse, and I think she deserves claps.
Yes, Mama.
Yes, Mama.
Big
Yes.
Mama. I love her. She's funny.
She's the best. She's the best. So yeah, I mean, I had a really crazy busy weekend at work. Friday, I actually did go out. I went out. I haven't been out in a while, and school starts in 2 weeks. So I was like, you know what, let's go out. So went out and had a good time. And then Saturday and Sunday, I just really worked.
And it's a good time to announce that we won't have to change our show time to
Yes.
7:30 because school for him falls within our schedule now.
It does. So
which
we'll
is
be
amazing.
staying the normal time.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
because we
awesome.
do everything for him.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Well, if I was taking Spanish, we would have had to do it an hour later. But I said, forget that, and I'm
If
taking
you would have
French.
been taking Spanish, yo estuviera mandando tu maestra para el carajo.
Sure.
tea.
All
Yeah.
right.
I would have been sending your teacher to hell.
Oh,
My clip book
that's
is
what I
over
said.
there somewhere.
Yeah, she ain't touching that.
Um,
What about you?
what did I do? So Friday, I ended up doing nothing. I didn't go out. I didn't go out to the bar. I didn't go out to karaoke. I didn't do nothing. I just literally stayed home. I was like, you know what? I need to rest. I watched a couple of movies. Thank you, Trish. And because your account is still signed into my Apple TV.
Oh, I know.
And then so I went to bed. Then Saturday I woke up early, and then I went and picked up all the materials that I needed to replace my broken fence on one side of the house. And so I got all my posts, and all the cement is still sitting in my car.
Wait, are they your posts? Because I thought you just told me they were mine.
They were yours. Those are your new chairs. So
They're gonna help you dilate just a bit.
yeah, those are your
I
butt
hate
plugs.
you both.
And so I picked up. I still have like a whole like 9 or 10 bags of freaking concrete sitting inside my car because I didn't want to bring them out. On a day like today, they would have completely been damaged and hardened over. And then Sunday we did karaoke at the bar that we work at, and of course I was running karaoke. He was bartending behind the bar, and
I mean,
it was,
sort of.
It was a decent night. We had a lot of people. I had over 30 people on my roster to sing. It was insane. So I was trying to like rush them through, and then other than that, and then today, like Chris and I went to lunch.
Yeah. I was like, do we plug the place? Because we didn't get those free glasses that we
yeah,
asked
fuck
for.
them.
We asked for a
The
donation.
food was delicious.
Food was fantastic.
Yeah. So
You asked for a donation? at
They
a
have-
restaurant?
they
put
have
these
cute cups.
Yeah, these little. They look like little glasses and like in the shape of like a soda can would.
Yeah.
And they said Riptide on them. They were really cute, and I was like, we should get these. And
So
he
I
was,
said to her, I said, if you give us 3 of these, we'll plug you on our show. And she was like, oh, that would be great. Let me go talk to somebody about that.
we never
And then
got them.
She never came back and told us anything about it. So I was whatever. Anyway, but we did have lunch. It was delicious. What did you
Mhm.
have for lunch?
I had a nice lobster salad roll. Now I know some of you Connecticut people are going to be upset that I didn't have a hot lobster roll, but I prefer the cold lobster roll.
It was, well, according to him, it was delicious. It's the
I've
second
never
best he's ever had.
The second best I've ever had. The best was still in New Brunswick, but I have never been so full from a lobster roll in my life.
And I had a pastrami nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
It was delicious.
And we had some
it was a
calamari.
gorgeous day until it
was
started
perfect.
like
Yeah, the
thundering
sky
out of
opened up.
It
nowhere.
was not gorgeous. It was hot.
It was
and
hot,
humid,
but
and
sitting in the
muggy,
AC and looking out at the water was delightful.
It was beautiful. It was.
Yes.
But
Wait,
other than that, it
wait,
was
can we talk about how you guys got to the restaurant?
Oh yes. So for those of you who don't know, Chris here drives a Cracker Jack box on wheels. It's like
It's
really
a Tonka
tiny.
car.
Like seriously, it's a 2-seater. It has like no trunk, no nothing. And can you imagine all of this? Like this big fat boy trying to squeeze into his car. I got a fucking Charlie horse
It was so
on my side trying to reach for the
Seatbelt.
seatbelt.
The best way I can like put a visual in our listeners' heads is
Watch yourself.
you know what it's like when you get a tent and then you go camping, but then you have to take the tent down and put the tent back in the bag, and you
It's
never
the
quite
worst.
get it in there.
The same way.
Kind of how that was.
My favorite snap was when you were in the car and he was like in the parking lot. I can't fit in this fucking car.
So he parks, and then this big black Suburban parks right next to him and left me about a foot of space. So mind you, not only am I sitting on the floor when I'm in his car, I have to like literally like squeeze my. I was like, it's not happening. You need to pull your car out.
Pull out for him to get. And the best thing was, it was so busy there. Like there was so many people around, so people were probably like, "Is he backing up to let his friend in?"
Because she wasn't gonna get in there.
Next time, I'll just put the freaking top down. You can just flop right in.
But pretty much, that would be a big flop. Like all that water in that cove would just go right out.
Oh my
Tsunami
God.
somewhere. No, but it was funny. We had a good time. It was
Oh, that was a good
hilarious.
time. It was
But I literally got a Charlie horse. Who the fuck gets a Charlie horse? Charlie horse reaching for a seatbelt.
I love seeing some people get in my car. It's
I
just
was like, oh my god! It was horrible, but
man.
we had a good time, and lunch was good. And then we came back to the house, and then we were comatose on the sofa. We're sitting there, both seats,
And by that, you mean
me snoring,
yeah, but there's
and
no
him recording.
there's
me.
no videos to prove it. There are videos to prove it.
It was nasty. But anyway, it was overall. I think we all had pretty decent weekends. You know, summer's coming to an end. In 2 more
Why
weeks,
would
we'll
you
be in
say
September because it's the truth.
I know.
I'm actually looking forward to fall. I love fall.
Yeah,
Fall's
fall's
one of my-
nice.
Yeah, me
Except
too.
picking up leaves. That's it. I hate raking leaves.
We're starting rehearsal in like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. What
Yeah.
happened with the summer? It's
Time
crazy.
flies when you're on Prozac.
Oh, girl.
Anyway, so we do have a guest. So in light of that, we would like to try to stay within our time frame. We've got a couple of stories Nick and Chris has here. So I'm gonna toss it over to them and let them discuss. So why don't we start with your story, Christopher?
My turn?
Yes.
All right. So, meanwhile, in Canada. I miss it. I haven't been there in like what, a week and a half?
24 hours.
Just about. So Trish actually shared this story with me. The mayor of Canada's capital came out as gay in an emotional op-ed. So I believe that Mayor Jim Watson of Ottawa deserves claps.
Bravo.
Mayor Jim Watson is now Ottawa's first openly gay mayor. He said, quote, or wrote, "I'm gay," Watson writes. "There, I said it, or rather wrote it. Those two words took almost 4 decades to utter, but as they say, better late than ever." So that's, really good news for him.
That's
that he's
fantastic.
And he was always big with making sure that he was supportive for the Pride events. He would fly the Pride flag at City Hall. And in this report from The Advocate, Watson noted the growing acceptance, he's now 58 years old, and he noted growing acceptance of the LGBT community in the early 2000s, but still was encountering some senses of homophobia. The mayor described how anti-gay constituents once asked him in 2003 at a city council meeting whether he was gay, but the question was criticized and deflected, and they moved on. And another constituent criticized him for flying the Pride flag at City Hall back in the year of 2014, while another one asked if he would be attending the, quote, fag parade. And he responded, "I told him I'm looking forward to marching in the Pride parade, and I plan
Wow.
on doing so again. So why don't you join me?"
That
But-
must have been one hell of a lobster roll. Anyway,
I'm still comatose.
his mouth is juicy.
It-
Yeah.
it's all that juicy,
Yeah.
sweet, buttery. Oh, no, not butter, but lobster,
Yeah,
yes.
Juicy breath.
Focus on the gay mayor.
So gay mayor claps. Yay.
Yay. Yay,
Well,
gay
the good thing
mayor.
is, it's like he said, those two words took him the better part of 44 decades
Mhm.
for him to be able to utter. And, I always say that, we should not be outing people in our communities, and we should let them do it at their own time.
Absolutely.
Because it is important. It's something that it's self-reflection, and it's important for you to be able to be ready for that change.
And it's something he lived with for so long because, like we said, he's 58 now.
Mhm.
And he was saying in this article that he remembers back throughout high school, he honestly couldn't recall meeting or befriending an openly gay person. So he, at one point, clearly felt alone.
Yeah.
But he knew that he was different, for lack of a better term, in his young age. And he knew that he was living for this for, like you said, a better part of 40 years.
Yeah.
That's
It
right.
took him, of course, like he said, better late than ever. Or better late than never. Absolutely. It's unfortunate that it took all the way to 58, but if 58 is when he was ready to come out and accept him who he is and give it like to the Canadian population, then I'm proud of him.
But he has actually like a really good platform right now for this because he describes his childhood where he knew he wasn't straight, but then describes that he knew he had the lack of support to come out.
Right, exactly.
And so as a person in a position of power, he can literally do something about that for the next generation. He can start those conversations. He can share the information that needs to be shared because he has the platform. And so I think this is actually, well, obviously it's amazing, but like he can do so much with where he came from because he knows what it's like.
Right. And
I think he's going to do a lot of that. I think that just the simple fact that he came out, being a mayor of a capital city of Canada, is just in itself a very, very amazing revelation and eye-opening for his constituents and for people in the community.
And he's going to have complete support from the Prime Minister, who has been there for all aspects of every community.
I'm waiting for him to come out.
Justin.
No.
Come on, Justin!
He loves his Sophie.
Yeah.
But no,
We
he's gonna
love our Justin.
he's gonna have complete support from Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party that has the majority in Canadian Parliament right now. And I think it's so important. We talk about this so often on the show, to find your support group. Make sure you have a support group. And this coming from the capital city of the nation of Canada, that is, like Nick said, I believe that this is going to start to make it even better for the generations to come who are dealing with coming out.
It's amazing.
And it's actually a little sad too. I mean, like in the article where he's talking about how he feels that he wasn't able to live his full life
Right.
of love and adventure with, as his gay friends did or whatever. It's kind of sad to think that people really experience that and coming out at what did you say it was 52?
58.
58? I mean, like that's huge. You lost a huge part of your life where you could have really enjoyed being gay. I mean, we all love being gay, but it's beyond the sex part. It's the community part. It's the pride parades. It's the embracing yourself. It's just a beautiful lifestyle. There are some negative aspects. Obviously, we've talked about them on the show, but it's sad to hear somebody at 58 come out and say like how it hurts a little bit that he kind of lost a part of his life a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember, we had talked about that British soldier that served in World War II, about the love letters that he was sending with another soldier who had passed away, probably 10 or so years ago. And this guy was, I think, in his late 80s, maybe even early 90s, and now he's finally coming out. And now he's like, you know what? I'm ready to date. So like he was like, I'm going to make up for that time.
And he's optimistic, and he's obviously going to enjoy that process of being able to engage people in such a different light, right? In his true self.
Right.
And I think that he'll find a lot of joy out of that, which is amazing.
I think my main point is that nobody should have to feel like they lost a part of time in their life where they could have loved more or had more adventure. And I think he can now give that to a lot of people.
Right.
So
Because there's still plenty more love to give.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got, I think it's like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna give it over to Trish. Trish has got one story.
so I didn't.
Popeyes? I thought Popeyes.
Yeah,
was
let's
really
talk
nice.
about Popeyes because I haven't like finished the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
But so Popeyes came out with a sandwich
I love it.
versus Chick-fil-A's negative bullshit sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it less Chick-fil-A's more flavor but less homophobia. So basically they created a sandwich that's boneless, fried, and sits on two buns with a pickle.
Two pickles. Two pickle
pickles.
slices.
And
They're the same pickle. So
and they
same
did
pickles.
this so that people who enjoy Chick-fil-A but don't want to support Chick-fil-A can now enjoy Popeyes.
And I love me some Popeyes.
Actually, we've never had Popeyes.
It's really good.
Delicious. Just prep your butt for the next day.
I mean, this sandwich looks delicious.
It really does. It really does. But my favorite, we started the show with it, is they tweeted bun chicken plus pickles equals love. And literally, like, that's amazing. But that being said, so Chick-fil-A went after them, of course, saying that, like, they can't use that because they have coined that type of burger or chicken sandwich or whatever it was. And so they got into this Twitter war on Twitter, Chick-fil-A and fucking Popeyes, all because they were like, buns, chicken plus pickles, love.
And fuck Chick-fil-A. Like, seriously.
And you know what I'm sick of hearing? But it's so good.
That's,
There's plenty of good shit out there.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I work with someone who swears by Chick-fil-A, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we should go to Chick-fil-A sometime." I'm like, "I will never step foot in Chick-fil-A, and you should stop too."
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's like hard stop.
I was waiting for you to say something else, but anyway, so we've got some time. But you know what? You're not ready for the story yet. We can probably come back to it. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that we lost someone very dear to us. Schmo, Larry Schmo, the intern formerly of the Idiots Radio, and one half of the show that was supposed to come up, which was Filthy Animals, passed away last week. And it was very sudden. We didn't know that, he was ill or that something was happening. But we lost a fellow podcaster and someone who is just an absolute overall beautiful person. From the first day that we met him, he was just incredibly funny and loving and caring. And then, of course, that was Trish's, husband, because he like threw a chain over you and said, "You're mine."
It was like this bulky metal silver chain with the skull on it.
He made you his prison bitch.
Yeah,
You were his
pretty
prison
much.
bitch.
And I'll never forget, I sat next to him during the show when we first did the recording, and I was like, I'm kind of afraid of this guy. And then we just got so close, and he's so sweet. He was just
He really is.
sweet. I mean, he reached out all the time. My birthday was on Monday last week, and he messaged me for my birthday, and then a couple days later he passed away, and luckily I responded before he passed, but it was it was very.
It's very surreal.
Yeah.
To think that,
Yeah.
you know, a moment ago you were watching something on Facebook that he posted, and the next moment he's gone.
Mhm.
You know, and
Our Gay Talk shirts came.
Yeah, he made
like
his
made
wife.
those.
His wife
That's
made
right.
the Gay Talk shirts for us. We have the hot seat, or
The hot seat is sitting upstairs. That's right. It said The Idiots on it, and we have that one. And you know, I have so many amazing, beautiful memories of this man who was just a complete stranger to us prior to us beginning our journey with our podcast. And then we went down to the Idiots Radio and to Wildfire Radio Studios and recorded an episode with them when the gays come marching in, which, by the way, we have on our repertoire on our
yeah, that's
website.
right.
It was just incredible, you know. And one of the funniest things is we had him on the show not too long ago when he came in to talk about Filthy Animals. He was supposed to be joined by Andy Julia, which was going to be his co-host, but Andy ended up having a stroke.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't make it on the show, so Smo came and talked to us on his own. And, you know, it's just really an amazing, beautiful soul. He left behind 4 children and his wife, of course, and I'm sure that she is devastated because he was really a presence. I mean, this man, wherever you were, if he was there, you were having a good time.
Oh yeah, and he was a true brother to the community. I mean, he was such an ally and an advocate for the LGBT community. Working so closely with Drea, I believe was
That's right.
Drea
Richard
was a co-host and the Idiots toward the latter part of the show. And he would just always have jokes. He would always make you laugh. You know, we loved talking about his outdoor toilet.
Oh
It wasn't an outhouse. It was just, you know, exposed.
hole.
It was a hole. It was a hole.
And
We loved talking about the finger, and
Oh my
he always
God.
made funny jokes about how he would like mess with his daughters with his. And yeah, he really was a real beacon of light. That guy always made you laugh,
Yeah,
and he would always reach out to us. We'd be getting messages like birthday wishes or just checking in to see, hey, how
I
you
had
doing?
so many really long phone calls with him, and I'm like, I'm not sure what we're talking about. I remember one time we were, Jess Brannis, me and him were all kind of trying to collaborate on a project. It didn't end up coming to fruition.
something for podcasters, right?
Yeah,
Or something like that. It
yeah,
was
I'm
like
sure
a-
Jess is still working on it right now. But I was driving up to Mass, and I had him and Jess on the phone together, and it was just like the best conversation because whenever Schmo would try to be serious, it would like take a left turn so
right.
quick, and he'd be like, "Wait, so should I write that down? What are you meaning right now?" Oh, it was that like what was it? It was like the ice bucket challenge, but something different. I can't remember exactly, but I was just like, Schmo, I'm not sure that's gonna work. But, okay, all right.
We'll try it.
The only thing I'll still never forget, the first time I hear Schmo's voice is when we called in, and he's like, "Oh, so you guys like fuck all the time, right? You go to get the mail, you fuck. You go to the mall, you fuck." Like, I'll just never forget that. I was like, this guy's fucking hilarious.
And then we made the decision to go meet them.
Yes,
all.
exactly.
Oh my God.
And freaking tailgate outside the studio. Still never forget that too. They show up, they're like, these guys are right here like muddling fruit and shit.
Yeah. You know what? Like when we had them on the show, because it was super early. It was
That's
like
right.
Yeah.
in the first year, maybe the first 6 months when we had them on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were like our first real connection in the podcasting community. And I remember I was like, oh, wow, we're doing this. Like we're actually doing this. And now we're still here, you know, going on 3 years. And it's like,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing overall. So I just wanted
he's
to.
been a part of
Yeah.
this show since the beginning.
That's right, since the very beginning. So I just want to say, you know, it was an amazing pleasure knowing you. I know that it's kind of weird just to talk to someone who's no longer with us, but it was an amazing experience and a pleasure to know you as a person because you're beautiful, you're amazing, and we hope that you rest in peace and rest easy. And that's all we can do. You know, it's just remember someone who just brought us so much joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you to Schmo. On that note, what I'm going to do is we're going to leave you guys with some music. We do have our guest coming when we return back from break. So let me just get this thing here ready. And here's some music. We will be right back.
It's hard to see you with a man you call your friend, but in the end, I know I don't have much time to tell you why I wanna die, but then I cry, so then I lie, so
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. That was Time by the incredible Pat Riley, one of our previous guests and an amazing songwriter, singer. He's just awesome all around.
He has a nice body too. I saw his penis.
Oh my God.
Lord, well, that was at a play.
It
by the
was.
way,
It was
so
art. It was art.
It was.
Yeah, it was
and
really
it's
good art.
amazing. All right, well, listen, guys. Joining us now is, of course, Jack Tracy. He's our guest for tonight. He is the creator of the serial drama Community, now available on Spotify, also on Apple Podcast. In Community, the LGBTQIA characters must cope with a tragedy, a mass shooting at a gay nightclub. Of course, you know, this is something that's been very near and dear to our heart here on the show. And to have a podcast that really just encompasses that type of scenario and just really brings that back into perspective and into our lives is just really could be a bit intense. So I want to thank you first and foremost for joining us on the show. Jack, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. And I just wanted to make sure that the audio was properly leveled and all that stuff. So thank you for joining us. First of all, tell us a little bit about you, who you are.
Let's just say first, I'm Nick. This is
Hi, Nick.
Tom. That's Chris.
Hello.
Well, that was
Hi,
going to
guys.
happen. Okay.
She forgot.
I saw you all doing shots and fighting earlier, so your audience knows. It's a raucous room over there. I wish I'm having a far more sophisticated evening. I have a glass of red. I'm chilling with my Cocker Spaniel. We're just hanging out.
No,
Hi,
don't lie to
dog.
me. That came out of a box. He has a glass of red.
Oh,
no,
and it's
no.
not even a 1.5 liter bottle. It's classy.
There are the receipts, Diane.
I like this guy.
I do too.
Yeah, when we came down, I was like, "Yay, our guest is actually drinking with us." But for the record, we do drink and fight often. So
Yeah.
yes,
Good.
All the
Good.
time.
That's the way it should be.
absolutely. That's how you know we love each other.
So he did say his name was Nick, but really his name is Trish.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can move on and talk about this amazing podcast that you've created.
Sure. So I am the executive producer of Necessary Outlet Productions, and I started it in 2016 as a result to my extreme unhappiness being a corporate lawyer. So I decided I needed to do something that that felt good to my heart. And so I wanted to make LGBTQ content across various media that focuses on us as the lead characters in the stories, but does not rely on our sexuality as a major plot point. So I have done now, so Community is my first podcast. I've done 3 seasons of the web series History, which has been throughout the film festivals and is available on YouTube. I have 2 comedy shows, Millennial Memoir and Big Law, and I'm getting ready to release my second studio album as well. So just trying to do all the things.
Which is amazing.
Thank you.
Because you're also a singer as well.
Yes, and maybe you should play. And I'm going to plug my song, so you can listen to Petty and Ready, my brand new single. Oh, I'm sorry, and that's Maxie singing along to the signal. That's how it goes. So you know, Petty and Ready available on Spotify. And I should plug, because I completely forgot, I also did my first movie, which is premiering in New Jersey in about 3 weeks at the Golden Door International Film Festival. And it's called Snowflake.
That's
also
amazing.
You know,
politics.
it's such a shame all that law got in your way.
No, seriously.
Well, so I went to school for musical theater, and I ended up leaving not thinking that I was, quite frankly, at the time, I didn't think I was talented enough to be able to make a career in it. I thought at best I'd be a chorus boy, maybe do a couple cruise ships. And while that is great, that's not how I thought of living my life. And so I went into law because I was good at it. And it really came full circle, you know, after I'd achieved a certain level in my career there, I just wasn't happy. And I just needed to do something that made me happy. And these projects I just get lost in. I could spend every minute of every day working on the marketing, to the art, to the script writing, to the shooting, to the editing. I just love it all. And it just fills my days, and I love it.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like you have a very, very busy day, like you're constantly thinking and doing and creating, and you're doing it across so many different genres of creative works. I mean, you're talking about movies, you're talking about web series, podcasting. I mean, so you're really involved in a lot of different projects all the time.
Yeah, I wanted to be the gay Tyler Perry if Tyler Perry wasn't already the gay Tyler. I'm not known enough to get in trouble yet, so I'm just gonna say some shit.
We'll take it. Comes back to haunt you.
Yeah, right.
Sure does.
Sorry, Tyler, I love you.
That's right. You got those law skills behind you. You can get out of this.
So
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's talk about the podcast a little bit.
Sure.
So it's really good, but it's not an easy listen.
No, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to create it and what it's about.
So, Community is about it's adjacent to the situation that happened in Pulse only because it's a mass shooting at a gay nightclub. These are not the stories of the people at Pulse. Those are not stories for me to tell. These are all made up characters and a completely different scenario. The only thing that it shares is that it's an attack on our community and it's another mass shooting. The reason I wanted to do it specifically is, I always want to tell stories that take on a major issue, be it emotional, be it love, be it marriage, be it divorce, be it a political issue that affects everyone, and just tell it through an LGBTQ lens. So there are flavors to the story that may not be there if this was just told with straight characters. So the reason I wanted to do it as a podcast is because I was extremely moved by the release of the audio tapes that were taken at the detention centers at the border of the children. When that first erupted in the news, it moved me so much that I was listening to it. Another podcast was playing it, and I was biking on my way to work, and I had to pull over because I was going to get in an accident. I wasn't thinking anymore.
Yeah.
And I just had to step aside and just feel it all. And in that moment, I realized how powerful an audio medium is when you hear it happening, hearing those guards laughing at the kids, hearing the kids, crying and screaming out for their parents, which is still happening today in America. And hearing it activated me in a way that reading about it didn't quite.
Right.
And later, realizing the power of that medium, I thought, now, how can I use this? How can I use this to give someone else the feeling that I felt, to activate them, to make them want to do more than tweet about it or, Facebook about it? What could I do? And so I thought about, humanity is about, we are about storytelling. We tell stories, we connect to people by hearing other people's stories. So I wanted to make you fall in love with these characters and then put them through some very real shit that people you don't know are going through, have gone through, and will go through, so that that you'll feel it the way we all should feel it.
I'll be very honest with you. I listened to the first episode, and the last 30 seconds shook me.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, I'm going to need to be prepared to listen to the rest of this podcast.
Yeah.
And but immediately I got the gist of what the podcast was going to be like, right? You obviously went through the process of hiring actors to
Yep.
come in and portray these characters, these fictional characters on this podcast. Is it just 6 episodes, or are there more coming?
There will be more coming. So the 6th one, it was supposed to air 2 weeks ago, but as I unfortunately knew would happen, we had 2 major mass shootings, and
Yep.
it was supposed to be released the day after Dayton and El Paso. And I just, even though I am someone whom, when asked, is it too soon? No, it's not too soon. We always need to talk about this now.
Right.
But there was still a part of me that just said, not the day. Don't release this fictional story the day after very real stories need to be told.
Right.
So I waited, I put it off, and then we finally released the 6th episode. So that is the first half of the first season, and we're going to come back in the fall to film the remaining 6. So it ended on a nice big cliffhanger for everybody.
So when it comes to the script of the show, because obviously it's scripted, was that all you?
Yes, I do. I'm a one-man band.
That's amazing. I mean,
it's incredible. It really is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Where did you? I mean, I can't even. So last year was it? I was at a festival in New York, and there was everyone thought there were gunshots and like everyone was running. I got trampled. It was crazy.
Were you at? Was that Global Citizens?
Yes.
I was there too.
Oh my God.
I was there when it happened. I was there to see Janet.
Yeah. So that moment happened in my life, and I was so shook, knowing everything that's going on in the world and what happened at Pulse. How the hell did you write this and perform? I mean, like, it's heavy stuff. Like, where did you pull this from?
Well, sorry to interrupt, but while it's heavy, it's relevant. This is something that is happening daily.
I know, but like, even like the story and building the world that these people are in and these relationships, and it felt so real listening to it.
Thank you. I try to. So I take a lot from personal experiences, stories I ask friends if I can tell. I obviously shape them into a narrative that makes sense to change things, move things around. But I do try to, most of the plot lines or most of the character work are things that I know have actually happened to real people in the world, be it me or other people, for that very purpose, because I want it to feel real. And this was the first time I really stepped outside my cis white gay experience and decided to tell stories of other people in the LGBTQ spectrum, which I felt very nervous about because I don't live those experiences.
Right.
So I had to really go do my research, and I did a lot of talking to people, a lot of looking at online forums about conversations about politics from different perspectives, and really trying to find authentic ways for the lesbian characters to interact or the trans characters to interact, doing my best as someone outside that experience personally, but really doing my best to. So Community is not just about an attack on us, but it's also, before that happens, it's all the ways in which we self-segregate. So there's a lot of, so you've got your toxic mask, total top bro gay that we all want to have sex with and follow on Instagram, but secretly hate, but secretly love, but secretly hate, but secretly love. So there's him. And then you've got your, experienced drag queen who's trying to still stay relevant in a post-Rue world. You've got trans character who just left the military because of the trans ban. We talk about that. We've got a lesbian couple and a jealous ex coming in. And I really wanted to show how we self-segregate until we're under attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we all come together.
And then we all come together. And that's the point of Community.
So you obviously, you went through and you thoroughly did your research. You talked to different communities and community members, and then you created these characters. Like I mentioned before, you were casting people, actors, to come in and portray these characters. Can you talk about that process of casting, and how do you say, okay, well, you are good for this person, or this is the character that I envision you in? Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Girl, if you want casting couch stories, you're going to have to ask about the stuff that's on video. Like, the audio stuff there's nothing sexy there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's nothing sexy, but
nothing. Oh, let me say it. There's nothing sexy. Everything's fine. Everything's above board. I'm a legitimate business.
We don't have to call HR. Everybody's good.
Okay. Gotta be, Jack, be careful. Don't get yourself in trouble. So the process. So I have been extremely fortunate in that people who work with me like to come back and work with me. So I try my best. For me, I hear a lot of stories about other people's sets and how things are either disorganized or there's diva stuff or I don't believe in any of that, and I don't tolerate any of that. I run a set where everyone's opinions are listened to and valued. Everyone's respected. If you respect me, I respect you. And everyone has a good time, because if we're not having a good time, there's no point in doing this, especially if we're doing something very heavy. People need to feel like it's a good, maybe not a good time, maybe we're all in tears, but we feel like we're all a community, we're all together. Right. So with that, it has made these actors come back time and time again. So Officer Andrews is J.J. Bozeman, who has helped me throughout almost all of my projects. He started as an extra in season 2 of History and then became the lead in my movie. Eric Schneider is Velociraptor, our resident drag queen. He was an extra in season 2 of History, is now my artistic director for the visual album that's coming out next month. And he actually graduated to a main character in History. So there's a lot of repeat people. And then this time I did audio submissions because I could, because it was a podcast. Usually for the other projects, I like to actually meet you and talk to you. So I had people from all around the Northeast send in, and it was really finding you focus on the core performances, because I gave them all sides from the script. So you found your 2 or 3 that were like, these are my like anchors. And then it was about, okay, if I'm listening to her talk to now this person, are their voices and mannerisms and patterns of speech distinctive enough that I'm not going to get confused after I introduce them? So I have a bunch of people that, I have a bunch of people with gay voices like me, and we're all just gay voices like me, and it's gay, gay, gay. Like, we're all on the same gay note. Then, like, you're going to be listening to 20 characters. Like, who are these faggots? Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah,
I mean, you did, but you usually ask ahead of time.
Who are these homosexuals? And so it was about, I was listening to these clips back and forth and being like, will someone who doesn't know the story be able to distinguish just by the performances? And there are some really phenomenal actors and actresses in this, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, just from what I heard in just the first episode alone was, incredible. And like I said, just those last
30 seconds.
30 seconds were just like, oh my God, I see where this is going, and I'm going to need to prepare. I literally need to be emotionally prepared for this. So, because I know that a lot of the dialogue that's going to happen next will revolve around what's happening internally.
And hearing those last 30 seconds, it's almost like what you were saying when you were biking to work and you were hearing the stories of the kids being detained and the people laughing at them. Because you're hearing it, your imagination paints that picture. And with this crisis and this plague of mass shootings being so real across the country, hearing those pops and then you just stop for a second,
asking the question:
Are we blowing a speaker?
Did we blow a speaker?
Yeah, and everything just slowed down. Those like, even though when Tom and I were talking about this, like I was asking, so is it like a fictional show? And then I learned about it, but it's not. It's more like inspired by real events. Like, you're using your life stories and you're bringing in these stories to people that you have permission, and just in that last 30 seconds, just those pops alone slowed down time. Though I know that no one was actually getting hurt, it brought me back to Dayton. It brought me back to El Paso. It brought me back to Pulse. It brought me back to Las Vegas. It's a really moving and really relevant crisis going on right now.
I mean,
and so just to warn you, the rest of the episodes, the way that I do the storytelling in this is very similar to the way I did the storytelling in History, which is we jump back and forth through time.
Mm-hmm.
So it will not be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You get the before pieces, and you get more backstory, more characters, more things that happened before. You get some after, sort of in the wake of it, and you get little pieces of the during to just, because it is very intense. I can't do 20 solid minutes of like the activity of a shooting. So you get hints of it, you get pieces of it, and it's really in episode 6 at our mid-season finale that you finally get you finally know everything that happened and who has survived and who has not, and who is where and what is happening. And it doesn't, you get just hints of it and pieces of it until episode 6 when we really lay it out. That's the hardest one.
So there's this element on top of everything. We all have or do work at a gay bar part-time. And after Pulse happened, I mean, my father was like, get a gun. Go to work with a gun. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like, there's this element of just being afraid when you're at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we're listening to the show, and it's probably the same for everybody, but when I'm listening to the show, especially that it's taking place where it's taking place, it's really hard to hear it. And there's a couple moments where, somebody's with somebody else and you hear the pop, and then all of a sudden that person just stops talking. And it's like, not like it, the way you did this, it was so powerful that it was like, I stopped. Like, I literally was like, oh my God, I need a minute. I need to pause the show for a minute. because it just brings you right back to the day after Pulse and how it just tore us apart. It
And
was
reading the text messages that a son was sending his mom, "Mom, I love
Uh,
you. I'm in the bathroom. He's coming. He's in here. People are getting." I mean, and to think, like, I try to put myself in that parent's um, shoes, and what it's like to have that text message and read it over and over and over again, and wonder what exactly your child went through. Because here's the thing, she wasn't going to be able to go in there and see exactly how her child ended up, right? They're not
Yeah.
going to allow her to go into that bathroom and see how they found this individual in a stall. And so when you start to describe or create a story like this, it brought back so many memories. I mean, we did. It was 49 weeks of memorials to each one of those past brothers and sisters and allies that passed during Club
Were
Pulse.
taken from us.
Yeah.
And were taken from us. And we had Melissa Etheridge wrote a song, Pulse, for it, and we had her come on the show twice to talk about her experience in writing that song and the meaning behind it, and all of that. And it was just, overall for us, it was just like every week trying to read through some of the bios of these people that we lost, we were just like crying.
Yeah.
Literally, going through, we ended up calling the series Angels and Assholes, right? Because we would honor an angel that died that day, and then we would literally shame two senators who voted against sensible gun control reform. And it was quite an experience, and to start listening to the very first episode, I literally went through every single emotion for those 49 episodes.
it definitely
all
brought
over
me
again.
back too. Completely brought me back
And
to
I was
that.
like,
Yeah.
holy cow. So with this series, once you're done with it, do you plan to do more? And are they going to be tied into the storyline, or are they going to be something completely different? I mean, where do you see this path taking you?
So the first half of this season was really all about the people inside the club. The second half of the season delves far more into the people outside the club who are hearing about it, whom are related to people inside who don't know if their people are safe or not, to people on the police force who maybe should or should not be there, to flashbacks from some of our other characters, getting more of their lives, getting to know them more. So so in the first 6 episodes, you do not hear from the shooter at all. You know he is there, but he does not speak. People speak to him, but he does not speak, and we start to get into him a little more in the second half. After that, I have a 2-pronged strategy with this project. Prong 1 is to take the podcast and try to market it for investment to actually turn it into a show.
Okay.
To see if we can do that. That's sort of plot A. Plot B is I would like to do a second season, and I'd like to do it as an anthology series. I would like to regather my actors, whoever would like to return, cast some more people, new characters, new situation, but same concept. LGBTQ space, and something is going on that is relevant to our current politics of the day. I am sure, unfortunately, that mass shootings will be just as relevant then as it is now.
Right.
But I hope to use this as a storytelling technique to tackle other political, social movements or discussions that are going on, and use the LGBTQ community to tell that story.
How do you envision, like, so a lot of people I'm sure are listening to this right now or have listened to the show. What do you expect from them when they hear the show? Like, what is the response you want? What do you want to see happen from this?
So, unfortunately, what we have learned is that the senators, the congresspeople, the politicians that need to be moved to act will only do so if there is public pressure. And the only public pressure that works, and you talk to any staffer, you talk to anybody who's worked on the Hill, and they will tell you that it's the phone calls and the letters. Mm-hmm. Or if you can trap Jeff Flake in an elevator.
That too. That's effective.
That works too. For a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets unconscious for 24 hours. But it's such, and it's something that our generation surely is not immediately inclined to do. What are we inclined to do? We're inclined to tweet. We're inclined to sign a petition. And not that those things
Like
you
and
should
share.
not do those things,
Yeah.
but that's not the language these nice words, Jack. These people are hearing.
You can
That's
swear. Feel
I can
free to
swear.
swear.
Yeah, you can.
I
We're
just-
not FCC regulated.
I don't like the
so
F
you can
word.
do
You know,
That's
whatever
just
you do.
me.
Fuck.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
to let you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Vagina boob.
So
Anything's
these
okay.
these vagina boobs.
Yeah,
these
that,
vagina
perfect,
boobs,
perfect.
They don't speak the language. They hear about the tweets and they're on Twitter, but their staff is on Twitter. They're not on
Right,
Twitter. They're
right.
not. They're not. Your anger and how you're expressing it is in a different language,
Yeah.
and you need to speak their language. And the way that you speak their language is you stand outside their office and you flood their phone lines and you flood their offices with letters. That is how they receive public, or you make them, you confront them at their town halls.
Right,
The tweets aren't helping.
right.
Mhm.
So my hope is that someone listening to this, whom was, hopefully is someone whom already, agrees that there should be gun reform and just needed to feel the situation, what's going on right now, a bit more in order to act, in order to go that way. So that's my hope. That's my hope, is that someone who's listening to this is activated and writes a letter, donates money. That always helps too.
Mhm.
Donates money, calls their senator, someone else's senator. Make up your zip code. Who cares? But to activate. I want to activate people out of the general malaise that we're all in, because every day is terrible, because there's always a new atrocity.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's it's weird because in order for that activation to really be successful, it's going to have to take a major effort, and I'll tell you why. We live in Connecticut. We are literally 45 minutes away from Newtown, where 26 people, including 21 children, or 20 children, were massacred. And if children didn't do it, it is so hard to envision a
Yeah.
time in this America where we will see some sort of gun control reform that's effective in preventing people from getting these types of weapons in their hands. I mean, if children couldn't do that, if the massacre of children, 6 and 7 year olds, didn't do that, it's so hard. It's going to have to be a major activation.
It is, and unfortunately, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, he's not taking up these. He's saying that he will take up these debates when the summer recess is over. But the problem is, yeah, we are from Connecticut. Sandy Hook is still very real. And I've mentioned on the show, I couldn't agree with you more. We have to be reaching out to our senators and our representatives. I've said the phone numbers of both senators and all of representatives on the show for those who are in Connecticut to call them. We've talked about their addresses so you can send them letters. And I'm very proud of one of our senators, Chris Murphy, who did that 15-hour filibuster standing on the Senate floor pleading for common sense gun reform. And the only way it's going to happen is, like you said, we have to continue to pressure them. We have to be, our voices have to be stronger than the pockets of the NRA. That's really what it comes down to.
Which now is a great time. So my day job is I am a corporate bankruptcy lawyer, and the NRA has been rumored to be very close to bankruptcy.
Delightful.
In the press. And their leadership is, there's a massive fight going on between Vagina Boob A and Vagina Boob B.
Yay!
And that's a thing now.
Yeah, it is.
No, yeah,
That's-
definitely.
That is the through line of today's conversation. So, they're fighting. They're losing money. It's. You're right. The children being massacred young children being massacred in their own school isn't enough, because it's all about money. But fortunately, right now, the pockets of the people whom the gun manufacturers who are in trouble, because gun sales are not good right now, because no one is afraid that the laws are going to change. When the people are afraid the laws are going to change, gun sales go up, and the gun manufacturers make a lot of money, and then they can spend that money to continue their lobbying efforts. But right now, people don't think that, with Trump in the White House, people feel fine that they don't need to stockpile their weapons as much. So the gun manufacturers aren't swimming in cash. The NRA is having a lot of problems right now, and there's a massive movement on the left right now to get corporate money in general out of politics. So I think the time right now is unique because we are not only so sick of the gun violence, but we're also starting to attack the issue that underlies all issues, which is getting corporate money out of politics. So all of these common sense gun reforms that super majorities of the American public believe in, left, right, and agnostic, can actually get done because they don't have a bunch of corporate lobbyists standing in their way.
And vagina boobs.
And vagina boobs, which who are naturally vagina boobs.
You're 100% correct. Yeah. No?
That's on the head. Perfect.
So listen, we'd love to keep you on the line forever, but I know that you've probably got amazing stuff to continue to create, and we hope that you do, and we hope that you think of us the next time you do, because we'd love to hear about your creations. But tell people how we can access this amazing production that you've created for them, where it is available. Do you have a website where they can go to get the information and all that good stuff?
So the website is necessaryoutlet.com. You can also search community necessary, and with community, because it's a common word, community necessary outlet on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And then all of my film and web series work is on the YouTube page, youtube.com/necessary outlet. Please subscribe. And all of my music, you can find me, Jack Tracy, at Jack Tracy Music on Instagram, and Jack Tracy everywhere digital music is sold.
That's amazing.
That being said, can we use your music on our show and play it?
Yes. Do it.
All right. Great.
We need it in writing.
I just want to say, can we get that in writing?
I'll email Jeff.
Yeah, email me. I'll email you back. It's called, the brand new single is called Petty and Ready. It's off of a 4-track visual album EP that gets released on September 3rd. So on the YouTube page, you're going to get a full suite of music videos for every song on the EP, and there'll be 2 more EPs coming out this year as parts 2 and 3 come out.
Petty and
Awesome.
Ready. You just described this one here.
That's right. That's right. And if anything ever happens in
Why
the future,
do you always come at me?
because
like
girl,
everybody.
you just asked for it. Well, now we know we have legal protection. We have someone we can reach out to. Forget LegalZoom. We got this guy.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Well, listen, Jack, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for, first of all, creating this. As heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching as it is important. Stories like this need to be told because it's our reality. It's
Right.
what we live. So thank you, first and foremost, for creating this. Thank you for being so creative and giving us, amazing content that we're going to be looking into. And I don't think this is going to be the last time that you'll be joining us on the show.
Oh, I hope not. This was lovely, though. I would love to come up to Connecticut so I can have some of those shots.
Yes, please. I was
can
going to
do
say,
that.
Where are you located?
I'm in New York City.
oh, you're right there.
You're
Are you
right
kidding
down
me?
the
You-
street.
Yeah, no, exactly. You had me with that beard anyway, so yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my god.
We'll make it a whole weekend and, you can hang out and then, we'll do a great show.
Done, and I'll do all your legal work. Great.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Wait, are we going bankrupt?
Oh, wait, maybe, no, you do not want me to
Yeah, hold on, time out.
lawyer. We are in trouble.
I thought we were doing well, Tom. What's
I thought so too.
You max
Well,
out that
once
credit
again,
card.
thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, I don't think this is going to be the last time we'll see you again.
I hope not. Good night, ladies.
All right,
night.
thank you so
Mwah.
much.
Good night.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that, of course, was Jack Tracy. He is the creator of, again, the serial drama is called Community. It is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. What an amazing gentleman. I think he was awesome.
I think I fell in love with it.
I fell in love with him first.
I think out of all the people that we've ever interviewed, he's the one that instinctively just knew, okay, this is going to be, this is my community, this is my people. I can just relax and just let it go and just throw it out there. And he was fine. He was amazing.
Yeah, no, I really liked him.
I did.
I did.
But I
Good
think, you know what?
conversation. He's very informed. He's very passionate about
he
what
is.
is going on, and that's what I love about it. And that's such an attractive quality of him.
Absolutely. I
Shut his
agree.
mic off.
And he's got a beautiful smile too.
He does.
And the rough.
I know.
The rough did it.
I know, but the content was what we were really
Yeah,
after there.
listen, I'm gonna have to take a couple of pills before I start listening to. the
What do
rest
you
of this
want? I got it.
stuff. I'm sure.
Oh, can you shut all of our mics off for a second then?
But no, that's so again, it is community. Go check it out. We
Yeah.
encourage that you do. But just be warned, it is very, very heavy content and very hard to listen to, but it's also very important.
But it's important. Like,
Yeah.
people don't want to acknowledge. It's not that they don't want to acknowledge genocide, but no one wants to see it. But you see these films that take place during the Holocaust and these horrible times where people are just being slaughtered. And that's what's going on across this country.
Mhm.
It's a plague, whether it be in the gay community, whether it be in the Jewish community, whether it be in communities of color. People are being gunned down by the masses day by day by day,
Mhm.
and nothing is being done to take care of it. People are trying, but not enough it's the stalemate and the partisanship that is going on in Congress it's killing more and more people.
Well, I like the fact that the most important part of his process and the reason why he's doing this is because he hopes that people get activated to write to your elected officials, activate to show up at their offices and do what needs to be done to make sure that we get somewhere with this crisis that we're in.
This has been a heavy show.
Yes, it has. All right, so listen, because we should have done this during the beginning of the show, of course, we have a message from one of our sponsors. Here we go. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Tolv, the new true wireless headphones from Studio. The company bringing you awesome headgear with amazing sound quality in a variety of styles to meet your listening needs. Get your hands on the new Tolv today. Use discount code GayTalk15 and get 15% off your entire order. And remember, it's free shipping worldwide. Visit studio.com today to get yours. Now, back to the show. Okay, so yes, we highly encourage that you go ahead and do that. Did you just call me a towel?
No, I think
No, I
Chris
did.
called me a towel.
I
No.
did.
All right.
I called Nick a
So,
towel.
so
Did I
we
get an eye
have
roll?
2 stories. I think we can only cover one of the 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do mine.
And so I'm going to toss it over to Chris so that you can go ahead and talk about your story, and then we'll move
My
into
God,
the
that's
rest
such
of
a
the show.
heavy one.
I'm actually not going to go into the story, but I'm just going to use this with what we talked about
Mhm.
and the 3 plots that were foiled over this past weekend. We there was an attack, a plot foiled in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Mhm.
I forget where in Ohio. Ohio, right? Yes, I believe it was Ohio. And
you
then
were telling me.
I know, and then one in our own state of Connecticut, in the town of Norwalk.
That's right.
There were 3 self-proclaimed white nationalists who were planning attacks, and people reached out to the FBI that they knew this. The guy from Norwalk, or I believe the guy from Norwalk, was text messaging an ex-girlfriend of his, talking about like how he wants to commit a mass shooting, and there were people that were posting on their Twitter and their Facebook, and people stood up and they said something, and there was a individual, a neo-Nazi who was arrested after planning to blow up a Las Vegas LGBTQ club. So basically the most important thing that I can say is, if you see these things, we can't take them lightly anymore.
That's right.
If you're seeing this hateful rhetoric online, or you're hearing this hate speech being spread around, you got to report that stuff. It's always better to say something to be safe, because it can be saving lives. We had that psycho, like I was talking about, in New York last week, who was planting just rice cookers, but putting them in a subway and one somewhere else in New York, and they were looking like pressure cooking bombs. So it halted the commute, and it's
Mass transit.
Yeah, it really did. So it's be vigilant, live your life, and still like live your life and be you, but always be vigilant. And
Yeah.
I don't want to give any of these neo-Nazi white supremacist names or recognition or airtime. They don't deserve that. But just know that we always got to look out for each other.
And I think
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it is important for us to be able to do that. I can never really put into perspective why someone would want to go out of their way to cause bodily harm or harm, period, to a mass group of people or just one individual in itself. It's just, to me, it's just senseless and horrible and gruesome. But these type of people exist in the world, and we just need to stay vigilant.
It's
You're right.
fucking hate.
Yeah, it
Mhm,
is. It
mhm.
is.
And
So-
that is why we choose Popeyes over Chick-fil-A here at Gay Talk.
Hello.
Hello.
So let's end this on a lighter note.
That's why I tried to
okay?
throw that in there.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through this article that Mama Kim sent us.
We love you, Mama Kim.
Just to give you some fun things to do while you're meanwhile in
Canada.
So this was
Bitch,
actually
that is my line.
well, you didn't read it.
What do you think
So,
of Tommy for taking it from me now?
Anyway, so this is an article about the 7 gayest things to do in Vancouver.
Fun.
So, what are the 7 gayest things to do while you're in Vancouver?
Oh my
Do
God,
tell,
I'm going to
Trish.
tell you. I'm going to tell you. So go to Wreck Beach.
Wreck Beach.
Just west of the city, you'll find the famed clothing optional Wrecked Beach.
Did you go?
Ooh. I've
You
never
went-
been to BC.
Oh, I thought didn't you go to like Newfoundland or something?
New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
Vancouver is in British
it's-
Columbia,
that's
the
right,
other
it's on
side.
The other side on the west.
I can't
coast.
afford to go there.
Get a drink at the Botanist, which
Done.
is the #1 gay bar in Vancouver.
Wait, so you went there?
No, I just want to go there.
Okay, done. Okay.
Little Sisters Book and Art Emporium, aka Little Sisters, is basically this place that was turned into a community center for the LGBT community. It was named after this Jim Diva and Bruce Smith's cat in 1983. But evidently, it's supposed to be a great place to go for stay at the Fairmont Waterfront Hotel.
Fairmont.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
like a
gay
bathhouse.
that straight men aren't doing it to avoid looking overly feminine.
Oh.
And it says the Fairmont Waterfront is consistently ranked as one of the greenest hotels in the country.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
Zero water waste.
Mm.
On their way to zero water waste.
Really?
Go green.
Yeah,
How do you
that's
do that?
amazing.
How do you do zero water waste? I mean, don't you waste
Science
water
and
when
stuff. No, recycle.
Science and stuff.
Science and
So
stuff.
proud of you. All right, so number 5, go to the seawall. Running about 5.5 miles, the seawall is the world's largest uninterrupted waterfront path.
The largest waterfront path?
Yeah,
The largest waterfront path.
uninterrupted.
How many
Waterfront.
path.
I was picking on you for saying waterfront instead of waterfront.
Whatever.
I thought it was funny.
How many
Yeah.
miles is it?
5.5.
5.5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
How many miles is the path along the West Side Highway?
But that's not waterfront.
Hello.
Uninterrupted.
It's riverfront.
Uninterrupted.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
I don't know. Okay,
Why
anyway,
are
go.
you such a dick?
Go.
I'm trying to like. All right, number
Oh, that's
6.
right, it's
Go to
3.5.
bars on Davie Street.
Davie.
Celebrities, numbers. Celebrities more a nightclub vibe. Numbers known for their cabarets. The Junction, Superior Drag, and the Fountainhead, a pub, are all local favorites.
So it's like going to the Castro.
Mhm. 7. Watch the Brat Pack perform.
The Brat Pack.
The Brat Pack
Who
is
are-
a drag supergroup
Huh.
currently consisting of Kendall Gender, Thanks Gem, Jane Smoker, and Geometric.
I like that. I like that one. Geometric.
Yeah.
That's an awesome drag
That
name.
is a good one.
Yeah. So
We should get them on the show.
yeah, that's just a couple things that you can do in Vancouver, and I thought it would lighten up the show before we close it out.
All right. Well, since you're on that topic, why don't we jump into Mama Kim's Minute?
All right. Well,
Nickelodeon.
No.
And we're sued. Can you get our friend back on the on here?
Oh, Jack. Jack, I'll never let go.
are you gonna time me? Like what's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're
Right,
waiting
sorry.
for the timer.
I haven't
Come on,
done
just-
this in like a week. Okay.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Ugh.
It's like
All
somebody
right.
took the fucking training wheels
And go.
All right, everybody, it's Mama Kim's Minute. So, number 1, Trump says okay to anti-LGBTQ discrimination. Pelosi, Sanders, say no. FCC recognizes LGBTQ youth suicide crisis, advises 3-digit hotline. 3, bus driver suspended for refusing to drive bus with a rainbow number. Fuck her.
Fuck her.
off. Fuck her.
4, Ed Smart, father of kidnapping survivor Elizabeth Smart, announces that he's gay. Proud of you.
Yay.
And 5, I just talked about it, the 7 gayest things to do in Vancouver.
That's fantastic.
Fantastic indeed.
And since you're on a roll, why don't we jump into our gay talk term for today?
I mean, okay, fine. So this week's Gay Talk term, of course, brought to you by
Gay racer. Damn it.
Okay.
Unicornbooty.com.
So this week's Gay Talk term, of course, brought to you by
GayRealEstate.com.
is
I wanted to say unicorn booty that time.
It's turnout. So turnout is one who goes into a male institution and comes out gay. A nation
Gay.
gay. A Navy turnout is one who went in heterosexual and came out dreaming of dick.
Dreaming of dick.
Turn it out.
Mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, so can I just stop really quick before we get into On This Day in Gay History? Did y'all watch To Wong Fu?
Oh my God, I did. I finally watched it.
Did you watch it?
No.
Mama Kim watched it and she loved it. You want to tell us just in 2 words? Tell us what you thought.
2 words.
Two
Yeah, I
words.
know.
Vagina, boob.
Yeah. No, it was a great movie. I really fucking loved it. I was laughing. It was crazy.
Listen, anytime somebody ever says To Wong Fu to me, all I think is Wesley Snipes, red dress, Peg Bundy wig, under the bed, rising up, hysterical.
I don't know.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
It
So
is.
we said maybe I'll check it out.
Check it out on
I think
Netflix,
of that
it's amazing.
Midwestern town and like
Yeah. Schneidersville.
everything they put those people through, but not really put them through because they kind of helped them. But it was like, what is about to happen here?
But anyway, it's a great movie. Check it out. It's so funny.
To Wong
Chris?
Fu.
To Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Indeed. Alrighty, so on this day in gay history, brought to you, of course, by GayRealEstate.com.
She forgot.
No.
It sounded like you did.
Yeah, I'm just realizing something. Keep going.
Anywho, so on this day in gay history, when August 19th, the year 2011, in the state of Arizona, the Arizona Queer Archives is founded by Jamie A. Lee with the support of Susan Stryker and the Institute for LGBT Studies, again, in August 2011. The first order of business is to work with the community to establish vision, mission, and collection policies in order to make the archives relevant to the Arizona communities. The Arizona LGBTQ Storytelling Project is then migrated into the Arizona Queer Archives with financial support from the Alliance Fund of Southern Arizona.
That's fantastic.
Indeed it is.
Well, oh, wow. I'm like, listen, there's so much information in my brain right now. I'm
Just
like
'cause
all
I'm
over the
smart.
place. I know, and you're going to school, and school's starting soon. I don't know, maybe.
Something like that.
All right, well, listen, guys.
Hey,
it's
C's
time-
get degrees.
That's true. It's
Just
time to
kidding.
bring it home.
I
If you
got
love the
A's.
show, make sure that you go subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. Doing so allows you to get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as we publish the motherfucking episodes. Anyway,
Wait, we can swear on this?
yes.
Fuck.
Anyway, pay attention to the notes.
I am.
And of course, you can also support us on Patreon, which gives you access to this amazing video feed that we produce for all of our Patreon subscribers every week. You can do so, and by becoming a Patreon, you can donate to our show. Those pledge donations are collected every month and can be in any denomination of $1 or more. Christopher?
Next week, I'm very happy to welcome. I just changed. I was like, wait about this. Next week, I'm very excited to welcome to our listeners our 2 new interns, Trish and Tom. Whoop, I hit it over. It's all about the dish. Yeah, right. It's all about the dish next week. It's going to be us, but don't forget, the People's Choice Podcast Awards are here. Nominations are open. If you like or love the show, because you know you love it, our
I
show,
know you do.
head on over to podcastawards.com to nominate your favorite LGBTQ show, Gay Talk 2.0.
Nailed it.
Right.
So thank you to our guest. Thank you.
Whoa,
to
he
our
even
guest.
got 4.
Wow.
He actually got 4.
To our guest, well, I'm in love with him, Jack Tracy, for
I was
joining
in
us
love
on the
with him
show.
first.
By the way, clap for
Oh
him.
my
Yes,
God.
claps for him.
Amazing work.
I'm not clapping right now because I was in love with him first.
I saw him first.
His podcast, The Community, is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can access the link right from our post tonight.
That's right. We're going to be putting the actual player for Spotify right on tonight's post. It'll be amazing.
It's already done.
All right. Chris?
All right. Well, Jack, we still have to put a rubber on it. So anyway, as always, our show is available on our website, gaytalk20.com, under show and episodes. It is also available as a free download on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher Radio.
Nick announces you can find us on social media: Facebook, Gay Talk 2.0, Instagram, Gay Talk 2.0, Twitter, @GayTalk20. You can email us at gaytalk2.0 @gmail.com. Tom, Take it away.
And if you need to reach out to us, you can do so by going to our website, clicking on the Contact Us tab at the top of the web browser. There you can leave comments, suggest topics, submit a question for the cast or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us a voice message. We can answer those questions for you on the show. That phone number is 334-GAY-TALK, and if you need all the digits, it is 334-429-8255. Do not forget that we do stream live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can access that live stream by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. With that, ladies and gents, that is our show. Thank you, and y'all have a good night. Bye!
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.